Cool. Hello, everyone. It's Sunday, the 4th of July. I have a special guest tonight, Joe Kintz. I timed this because he's obviously of American descent. I'm just going to invite him now. So, bear with me. And I'll get up to date on these. 10 of my years should know. Cool. So Joe's going to be with us in a minute. Hey, Joe.
We're on. How are you?
Good, good, good. So I'm just going to do my little intro, mate. Thanks for spending some time with us tonight. Yeah, it should be a good talk. Like I chatted to you on the phone earlier today, mate. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll just give everyone my little intro I've written down. Thank you, Sam. So Joe's like the boss man of Whistler Street Tattoo. He does amazing geometrical, ornamental style tattoos, but also he's been a tattooer from like my era as well, where, he can turn his hand to anything. But at this stage in his career, this is what he's predominantly specializing in, and we'll get to the journey of how that happened a little bit later on. Follow his Instagrams. He's got Instagram page. He's got a huge following, over 100,000 followers. Joe's had a pretty interesting life, well, very interesting life. He served time in both the US and the Australian forces. He's also responsible for teaching many great Sydney tattooers that have gone on to have super successful careers. So, for anyone that's interested in learning to tattoo or how I believe Joe's taught these people, and this is a result of a true apprenticeship. So it should be interesting. So I'm just going to touch with my little notes here. So I first heard of Joe when I was working at Innovision, maybe 2008, 2009, 2010. We both tattooed a lot of Navy guys. So I'd see stuff come into the shop that Joe done, and I'm sure it was the same. So I think it'd be fair to say we'd both sort of known of each other before we actually met in person, before we finally met. And over the years, Joe's someone that I really look up to and respect and call him a friend. And over the last few years, I ended up doing, a leg sleeve on Joe. So tonight is, we'll chat. I've done my chatting. So Joe, you can maybe, say hi. And sort of basically this is your third lockdown, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the second one doesn't really count. It's 2 weeks.
Oh, but you were still locked down, weren't you?
Yeah, kind of a break, I guess. It's nothing like Melbourne.
Yeah, true. But I think, earlier in the year you had, I'm going to try and also acknowledge people that are saying hi. So we've got a few people saying hi. Hey, guys. If you see anyone you recognize on the comments as well, Joe, feel free to jump out and say hi back to them as well. So, but you were, the Northern Beaches were locked down and your studio was shut over the Christmas period. That's correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's 2 weeks. School holidays, Christmas, everything just shut down. So.
Yeah. What did you do with yourself that time?
Not much that time. I just kind of hung out with the family. And things like that. Didn't do a whole lot of drawing like the first time. The first 3 months it was so long. You get into a new routine.
And
then you go back to work like, man, I got to learn this new work routine again. Too long.
You've always, from what I know, from your background in the service, you've always been fit. So I imagine through the lockdowns, you were, remaining to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we train. My wife and I trained a lot together, just at home, and we've been doing that now in this lockdown. So, try not to get too old and you can't beat time, but you can try. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're both, of the same sort of era, and it is harder. What I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Like, what surprises me regularly is some of the guys and girls that I work with, they're complaining about bad backs, and they've been tattooing for less than 10 years. So, and I, you know, you don't want to be like the, you know, the dad of the shop and, you know, telling them this, that, and the other. But I think some sort of basic fitness is important for a long career in tattooing.
Even little things like guys sitting on their wallets, and that makes your hips go up, and you know, over a couple of years, it just adds up. When you're young, it doesn't matter. Like you can, you're bulletproof. But when, like myself, it takes me so long to recover from stuff now, and that sounds like dad talk, but it is true.
Yeah, but it's you know, it's just experience, you know, and you try and pass on, you know, what you've learned, and, you know, to the young generation, so they can sort of avoid the pitfalls that you know, you've been through. Even
getting rid of like the foot pedal, like I got rid of mine after I spoke to you a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Just run them all the time.
Yeah, I think, you know, without a foot pedal, you know, I think you tend to keep working more anyway. You get into a better rhythm. So it's a good thing. And yeah, like the old wallet, like I remember when I started tattooing, a lot of tattooers would have a big fat wallet with, you know, carrying loud, you know, show everyone how much money they had and all the rest of it. And you'd be sitting on a chair like that, where, you know, we're in the credit card generation now. So, you know, and the people they're sitting on their phones. So it's a different one. So I've got a few little questions here. And some will be right, some will be wrong. So, you know, I know you'll correct me on the way. So I know your dad was a tattoo artist. Is that correct?
He was later in life. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you tell us how that happened?
So my brother I was in the Navy when I was 18, and my brother joined when he turned 18, and he ended up getting too many drink driving tickets, and he got kicked out. And so he moved in with a girl. I think she was airbrushing, and so he tried his hand at airbrushing shirts, and it was too difficult. So, and then they had a tattoo machine or something, and they just messed around a bit, and then he figured it out and started working in a shop, it was called the Tattoo Zoo, you know, in Florida, and he worked there for ages. And then he taught my dad, and then I was in the Navy, and I was going to go away on a ship for 6 months with the team, and then they said, "Oh, when you get back, we'll teach you." And so I was always drawing anyway, and when I got back, I had a 3-week crash course. I made needles, woke up, made needles all day. It was tough, but I mean, it was at home. But it was still like make needles, stencils.
Yeah.
Didn't tattoo any lines till the last week. Last day maybe. So just trying to learn how to pack black and do some colors.
Yeah, old school. I know my way. I just got let loose with an outliner and got told don't touch anything, and I struggled with getting coloring in for years. You know, till later on. So, you know, that sounds like it was a better way to go.
Yeah.
So I remember.
From there I just tattooed friends in the Navy, and tribal was huge then. So I've done so many armbands, except for that little space in the middle, like in the bicep, because, you know, I want to stop there because it hurts. So I'll just get something there later.
Man, I think between us we're responsible for at least 10,000 armbands.
For sure. They're
like I remember
sleeves
I used to, when it was getting close to the area on someone, and you could see it was their first tattoo and they were having a hard time, you'd maybe offer to knock $20 off the tattoo for them and just say, mate, you can keep your arm down, you can still see it, and you
most
know, get
of those armbands are frustrated other artists now, so they can't do a sleeve on them.
Totally. But, you know, armbands, I think that was part of, and tribal was a big thing in the 90s that helped change tattooing. Like it exposed it to such a different audience, as opposed to like your biker, your military, your criminal element, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it definitely, you know, helped change the way. Like, if, you know, you think about tattooing, like from what we've seen, it's, it's sort of been on a trajectory like this since the 90s, like far more so than a lot of other industries. So it's you know, it's good to be a part popular. Of it. So,
yeah, and the more pro athletes that get them, like the more people want them. So
yeah,
pretty soon you'll have guys. Well, you probably already have golfers with sleeves, but pretty soon you'll have guys in sports that don't usually have them will be covered, and it'll be even more.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I remember who was your first tattoo from?
Is Scott Sterling. So
really, the Scott Sterling.
So, yeah. So my dad was getting tattooed from Sailor Moses in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I just picked a dragon and had him draw some flames around it. It ended up being a Ed Hardy dragon that I know now. I've seen it in some Ed Hardy books. So I got lucky. I didn't know anything about tattoos, but got lucky and picked the Ed Hardy flash. Had Scott Sterling put it on, and yeah, it's pretty
amazing.
Funny.
Was that at Sailor Moses' shop?
Yeah, and Sean Anderson was their apprentice. He still tattoos with coils and powder. Like he makes his own ink still in the U.S.
Yeah,
so still holding on to that.
Yeah, keeping it real.
Yeah. So I got one of Scott.
You went on from there. So, well, all the young kids are loving Scott Sterling these days, aren't they?
Yeah. Some good machine.
With totally. So with obviously tattooing in the Navy and the military. So whenever you would come back to the States on leave, would you be in a shop or what was the scenario for you then?
Bedroom.
Yeah, nice.
Had a spare bedroom with the full setup. I had an autoclave, sun cleaner, everything. So it was a full setup. So I mean, my tattoos, when I look at them now, there's nothing amazing about them. Like I was tattooing and people liked them and I was having fun and so much tribal though, unbelievable.
Yeah,
that was back in the day, and lots of military stuff, and it was good. So even when we went away, I would take it. So we went on a trip to Vegas, and I was tattooing these hookers from a brothel. We were tattooing their liposuction scars on their hips.
Wow.
They'd get like little butterflies on them, so you could hide that. It's pretty fun.
It's crazy stuff. So from there, like you ended up, obviously, you had quite a distinguished career in the Navy. How did you end up in Australia working with the Navy, or how did that come about?
So I was stationed here on exchange from 98 to 2001. And I worked with a lot of the Navy guys here. One of them, Guy Barnesy, who you tattooed. Yeah,
Michael and his brother
guys,
Chris.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that we heard about each other from.
Yes,
So I worked with him. I was a little bit senior to him then. He's actually still in Canberra now. And then I met my wife through a buddy who passed away the other week he had cancer and passed away young. I met my wife through him, and then she followed me around. I had 8 years left before 20, so she followed me around and always said I'd retire and move to Australia because it's amazing here. So time came up.
So
and that was it.
And here you are. So did you, when you came here, were you in the Australian Navy?
I was attached to them, but I was still getting paid from the US.
Okay, cool.
Just like an exchange student.
Right, okay, cool. And I know you tattooed in Iraq for a while?
Yeah, I went to Iraq with SEAL Team 5 in 2007, 2006 or 7, and tattooed there. And one of the SEALs tattooed as well, so we had like two tattooists going in different rooms, and we tattooed everybody.
Michael just said, "Don't use shit talk, bro. I'm watching." Mate, even though you're in WA, Michael, we love you, mate. And no shit talk.
It's even worse in Canberra now.
I was in Canberra.
He's struggling, yeah.
Mate, why haven't you called me?
We're on lockdown.
True. So when you were in Iraq, what were you doing? Just tattooing on the base?
Yeah. Oh, we were like a little base, so we had a bomb disposal shop, and I just would set up there. It's dirty, but we make it as clean as possible, and I had the medics would clean all my tubes and things, and I had enough needles taken with me, and just did that. My dad mailed me paper towels.
Yeah, wow.
Good stuff.
Yep. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So when did you come to Australia again? Like around 2008?
Yeah, in January or December 2007, we moved permanent. And then I saw an ad on a career website for a tattooist wanted in Manly when I was still in the Navy, and I just replied to it, and they said, yeah, call us when you get here. When I got here, I wanted to open my own shop, but I found out that would be a poor idea.
Yep.
So I ended up going, I think I worked like 12 days in Manly over Christmas time, just covering like when guys would go away.
Yeah, cool.
And then DY Tattoo was going to open, and I got asked if I wanted to run that. So
yeah, nice.
Headed over there.
Dropped Bomb just says hello, and you tattooed his mates at EOD school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. Like I remember, I think one of the first guys that I met with work from you was a guy called Fraser. You'd done a big chest piece on him. And then and then obviously Barnesy and quite a few others. Can you explain to, like, I've done a stack of pig and roosters on servicemen's feet. Can you maybe explain that to people, what the reasoning behind that is with the Navy stuff?
I may get it wrong, but I've been out so long, but it's the last two things that drown when a ship goes down.
Yep.
So it's superstition. They get them on their feet. And
I got told it's because they were in like wooden crates back in the day up on the deck, and they'd like float along. Yeah. What's I think I did this on Barnesy, HDND, Hard Dick Navy Diver.
I don't think they're allowed to say that anymore. They get in trouble for that. I'm pretty sure they all have that covered up now. So that's
yeah. I did other like pig and rooster with like goggles on and flippers and all the rest
parachutes,
of it.
Scuba gear, all kinds.
Yeah, that was probably as well also around the time when Sailor Jerry Flash really started to re-kick into gear, and it was like you had the books, and it sort of became traditional, made a huge comeback around that era as well.
His those big long flash books that they sold, those were like the first thing I think were like mainstream that people would see, and I mean there are obviously a lot of traditional artists before him, but he had the books, and it just popped off from there, I think.
Yeah, totally. And then around that same era, like I think MySpace came along, and then even back then, not many shops had websites. No. And then slowly websites came along. Even Facebook, wasn't as popular as it was now, and because it was such an ordeal to like get photos, get them off your computer, put them on a USB stick on your other computer, upload them onto Facebook or MySpace. It was far more clunky than it is now to just take a photo of something on Instagram and upload, and it's there. Yeah,
and it wasn't easy to make your own website back then. So there was no.
It wasn't even easy to take a photo.
Oh, yeah. You had to have a camera, nice camera. Now the phone is better than the camera. So
yeah. You would have had a few photo albums like printed out. Actually, got one somewhere. I don't think every now and then I'll show someone at the shop my old photo of them. I'm just like, what's this? It's like a family album. I'm like, mate, that was currency. That's how you got people in the chair.
That's right. You have one at work that I kept, and I keep in my station. It's pretty funny to look at.
Goldie Tattoos are saying hi, Joe. Manny Boxer is saying hi as well. So, Goldie, did you apprentice him?
Yeah. Yeah, he was tattooing a little bit at the Central Coast, so he kind of knew like a little bit. And
Yep.
he traveled from the Gold Coast, not Gold Coast, the Central Coast
Yep.
every day, like a year and a half. I don't know how he did it that long. And he came to DY, and we like finished off helping him out and like changing some habits. And man, he's really good now. Jimmy says he actually taught Goldie everything he knows. He probably did. How to drink Jack Daniels.
Wow. Yep. How to play guitar. How to get on a TV show. You know,
he's got it figured out.
Didn't you just do a guest spot recently at Against the Tide?
Yeah, I went up to Trent's shop. It's really nice. Jake's up there as well. Jake Thurl, and they have a nice little shop there. You were up there the week before I went.
Yeah, we went up there a while ago. We went up for a ride up there, and dropped in and said, "Hey, mate, the Central Coast is such a nice place." Like, on another note, like for me, like that little Tokyo, we've had quite a few people work in the shop that have worked with you in the past. We've had obviously Jimmy, Jake's worked with us as well. Cade Mack worked with you for quite a while too.
Yeah, Cade was in DY. He I think he was at Skin Deep before that.
Yeah, correct.
Be a piercer and then learned to tattoo, and then came over because Sam Clark worked with us. And I think at the time Cade's girlfriend was working for a magazine or a tattoo magazine, and like kind of knew a bunch of people, and we got Cade in there, and man, he's crushing it. And where's he, Windsor now or something? I don't even know where that is. So probably not even locked down out there.
Cade's one of my favorites. Like I refer to him as my life coach. Whenever I need any information about cars or motorbikes, I'll call him up and ask him. Goldie says yes. Jimmy definitely taught me how to be a bit cooler. So I don't know, Trent. You're driving that mad old American van, and Jimmy's cruising around the eastern suburbs in an Audi. So I think the American van's cooler.
Different levels of cool. So you couldn't have that van on the eastern suburbs. You get kicked out. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Trent's thing looks like something B.A. Baracus would have driven out of the A-team.
The A-team.
So, with that, like, how, like, I'm going to try and just name some of the people that I know you've you've helped or you've apprenticed. I would say, like, who else? Sam Clark was involved for a while. What was the story with Sam?
I think he lived in Hornsby, and he came up to the shop one day in DY. I think he rang, and I said, "Yeah, come on up and have a chat." And he walked in, and he had this kid with him. He just outlined from his knee to his foot.
Wow.
I just did this, and I don't even know if it had plastic on it. I can't remember. But it was fresh, and the lines were, there was nothing didn't need to teach him anything. Like the lines were fine, and I rang the boss, and I said, "There's a guy who wants an apprenticeship, and he's tattooing better than some people that are tattooing now." And he was like, yep. And the next Monday he started in Manly, just straight off into the deep end. And he was there for a bit, and then he came back to DY, and then he went traveling. I think he went and traveled for a while, and got his
amazing.
Thing started.
In one of the comments, Joe, I hope I say her name right. Is it Leila Rose?
Layla, yeah.
Layla Rose, yeah. So I can see you're doing a bodysuit on her.
Yeah. I tattooed her for a long time, and then she decided she wanted to do a full bodysuit, which it's great. So kind of blasting over some old stuff. I think the only thing left's like her hips, like torso a bit, little bits on the back. Do some black on the arms. Yeah, a ways to go.
Yeah, so. Amazing. Yeah, it's like you do so much big work, Joe. Like you covering the amount of coverage you do on people is awesome. And like outside of say maybe Japanese or to another extent like traditional, like with what you're doing, you're filling up so many people, which is amazing to see.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
What's the big tall fella's name again? Remember, Simon
Kev.
and I came over and took all the photos of
Yeah.
him?
Big Kev.
Mate, he's a monster. He's
Yeah.
what, nearly
Yeah.
7 foot tall, isn't he?
Oh, he's everybody's 7 foot tall when I look at him. So,
Well, mate,
he's at
but
least
he's
six
huge.
five at
He's a
least.
big man,
Yeah.
and he's a
Yeah.
big, solid guy as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
He
know,
was
that bodysuit was pretty quick, wasn't it?
yeah, it was 15 months, just under
Wow.
200 hours. So he'd
Yep.
yeah, there's photos of me standing on stools to stencil his back, and he's so tall. And yeah, I think it was really good for him mentally. He was like 20 kilos lighter when we finished, and like, yeah, he's not the most confident person. He's pretty shy, like pretty
Yep.
quiet. But when you and Emma were there taking photos, like he was fine. Like,
Yeah, he
he
loved
was
it.
good. So
And man, that's one of the, you know yourself, that's one of the special things about tattooing. You know, the more years you get into it, you know, it's you forget the cool factor and all that sort of thing. You actually really get to help people and empower people,
yeah,
and you have a really almost like an I don't know if this is the right word, but an intimate connection with them. You're just on a level, and you're helping them, they're helping you, and it's a beautiful
yeah.
thing when you
There's a
see
big
someone
trust
like
factor.
that. Like, look in the mirror, and you've had the ability to make them more confident, and maybe even at peace with themselves, and all those
Yeah,
sort of things. And you know, that's something I think a lot of younger tattooers will, um, hopefully experience later on in their careers, if not already.
yeah. You definitely can't take it for granted. Like people are trusting you to give it, like your best job, even if you're having a bad day. You leave your bad day behind and
Yep.
do your best. I mean, everybody has life stuff happening. You just gotta
Yep.
give them 100% because they're paying you for it. I mean, pretty lucky
Yep.
to be getting paid to draw on people. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal. And yeah, with that, I think you just snap into gear, being a professional, and
yeah,
you go on from there. I'm just going to touch on one of the questions
yeah,
that was sent in, and it was something along those lines. So Misfit Marcel, who she works at our shop on a Sunday, running the counter, one of the managers. So
yeah.
she's asked the question: when did you know you could make a living out of a creative outlet that you liked?
Huh. I think so when I left the Navy and moved down here, I had a job as a contractor. So that means that you get called and you go, like we'd fly out and like clear bomb ranges or places where there's explosive devices, and we go clear them. So I was with this company, but a job came up I was supposed to go on, and they had to cut some people down, so I didn't go. But I had
Yeah,
that in the back, and I started tattooing, and once I got busier, I
yeah,
noticed, wow, I can make some money doing this. So like
yeah,
you don't get rich by any means, but I was
yeah,
able to put food on the table and have
yeah,
a little spending money, and so I
yeah,
didn't realize it until probably 6 months in, and I thought, yeah, I need to like focus on this a bit more.
yeah,
And back then, you had to be able to tattoo everything. Like you couldn't turn down black and gray because you might not get another tattoo for a day. So yeah, you had to do it all, which is much better now that you can more due to Instagram and things. You can specialize a bit more. And,
yeah. Yeah, I
it
think
was a good,
it's almost like, I think clients these days, if you say to them you can do it all, they look at you with a little bit of distrust. They almost expect
yeah,
you to specialize in something.
yeah,
Like, you'd get the same. You'd get people either calling or email going, I want someone that just specializes in lines.
yeah,
And you know, that's just to do a name.
writing, yeah.
Yeah, and you just sort of say, well, we're all capable of doing this stuff. Um, and
Which
you
is no
sort of
fault of theirs, but there is like the big fine line movement. Like some people are better at it than others.
yeah,
Granted, that is tough to do lines with a single and a 3, and it's not something I want to do every day. But if somebody comes in and wants a simple little wave, the fine line needle, like everybody should be able to do that. So
yeah, totally. I think I'm just going to skip back. So Mr. Dingo 90 said Hank Schiffmacher calls that giving someone mana, and that's like the reference to Maori culture, which is also power.
Yeah.
You know, when you're tattooing someone, like we were talking about Big Kev before. So yeah, it's a good thing. How did I deviate then? Okay, cool. So I've got this is going to relate to Big Kev. So Adam Kraft, who actually worked in Sydney for a couple of years at Innovision. I've been in Sydney 15 odd years, and he was here a couple of years before me. I'm going to answer this question. He's asked, why do males have nipples? And that's, I think, to be tattooed, because Adam has blasted over so many male nipples in his career. And I dare say, Joe, Big Kev had his blacked out as well.
Yeah, we blacked them out.
Yeah, I've not done as many, but it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not good skin. Like
no, it's like tattooing like a cupcake with all hundreds and thousands and sprinkles on top of it.
Not good, no. And it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. It's like when you hit a mole and it just doesn't stop bleeding.
Yeah. So. Hey, on a different note, how many moles have you like shaved off people over the years?
Yeah, shaved some and cut a lot of them in half. When you're doing a line, you're like, oh, should I stop and go around it? And you just cut it in half.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I've shaved off so many over the years.
My buddy Sam asked, was my dad a tattooist? That's a yep. Yeah, he was. So thanks for joining, Sam. Drop bomb.
Oh, yeah. So back to your dad, and is your brother still tattooing?
He just does it out of his house. He's kind of no shop for him.
In Florida?
He's near Chicago.
Okay, cool. Oh, cool. So just a bit of like American geography. Would it be fair to say Florida's kind of like the Gold Coast?
Yeah, some parts of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Would be definitely like big parties and spring break. Everybody goes there just like school here. So yeah.
Yep. And did you tattoo your dad or your brother, or you all tattooed each other over the years?
My dad. A couple on my brother. My dad did one on me. My brother's done a few. My dad, I think my dad, he had me and my brother both sign him, like do our signature on him. Yeah. Which it was pretty cool. He was covered. And he didn't start getting tattoos till he was probably 40.
Wow.
He didn't have anything on his legs though. And unfortunately, like his legs would have been quick. They were pretty skinny, but like he was pretty bigger up top when he was older, and a couple of beers here and there. He wasn't fat, but he was a pretty big dude.
Yeah, but mate, he must have been a cool old guy to be into tattooing back then.
Yeah.
It was a different era.
We had Harleys in the living room.
I'm just going to do some comments here. We've got Lapsy digging the chat. He's a great customer of mine who lives in Adelaide. Hey, Linus, look forward to the borders, mate. Borders opening again, and we'll get you back in the chair. And then we've got TatFit, two legends. Well, those two, that's you, Joe. You're both of them. And then Drop Bob's gone. That's where you get your skinny legs from.
That's right. It's like a T-Rex.
So, I'm just going to run through a couple more. So here we go. This is from Salmon, the Black Light. When did you start geometric tattoos, and how did you get into it and end up pretty much specializing in it?
I looked that up the other day. It was probably about 7 years ago. I would have done a couple of mandalas. And then I like the heavy black stuff as well, because I don't mind putting black in. And just kind of kept doing more of it. And I'd have to thank a lot of Brazilian customers, because they love geometric stuff. And I've done a lot of tattooing on like Brazilian clients. I wish I spoke Portuguese. It makes things a lot easier sometimes. But unfortunately, So it just started there. Just you do a couple and it keeps going. Before that, I really liked Japanese art, but
Yep.
I didn't know enough about the culture or the style, and didn't feel like I could do it right. Like I just didn't know what goes with what, and I knew you and a couple other guys were doing really good at that. So I don't mind doing symmetrical things that look like they really mess your mind up while you're doing it. They do, but yeah, it's really relaxing, I think, when I start working on something that's difficult.
Yeah, it's like almost like a meditation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can see two of your guys, Charles and Matt, have commented. They're hunting hard for a pay rise.
Yeah. Well, they can take 100% tomorrow. Whatever they tap tomorrow, they can have 100%.
Oh, mate, you're too generous.
Yeah, I know.
And then this is a funny one from Mooney. Have any US Navy personnel found the Golden Rivet?
I'd have to look that up. I don't know. I wasn't in the real Navy.
Mate, I used to ask all the young Navy guys I'd tattoo as well. Like, so you obviously been to the bottom of the ship and found the Golden Rivet? Because the story would go that when they're first building a ship, the first thing that would start to seal everything was a golden rivet down the bottom.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't in the real Navy.
That's one of my repertoire of questions, Mooney. Also, this is a military one for anyone up in Townsville. Has anyone heard the rustle in the bushes? So it's another good one for anyone in the know. But yeah, so back to that. Actually, while I'm on a thing with Mooney. So Mooney's asked the question of why should a tattooer join? There's probably one I'll start answering. Join like a guild or an association that helps tattooing, like whether that be the PTAA or the New South Wales Queensland Facebook group or the Tattooist Guild. For me, if you're a young tattooer or any tattooer of any age and you're watching, you should join one, two, or all three of these associations, because these guys, fight for us. They're the guys that helped us get back to work earlier out of the last lockdown, like going through some guiding sort of, negotiations with the government. So it's an important thing, and also it's a tax deduction. But apart from that, that's unfortunately, you have to say that to try and make it seem enticing for some people, but also, just be part of history and some sort of lineage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Are you laughing at the comments? No doubt.
Layla says the portfolio changed since my first tattoo at DY shop 8 or more years ago. It was all color. That's right. I have I loan my tattoo out to anybody at the shop because that'll keep it from expiring and hardening up in the container. So he's right.
So just on a quick little like technical note now, Joe, what machines are you using and what needles? Are you on needle bars still or cartridges?
Yeah, I use most of the time I use a Bishop wand, the Packer wand, and Metrics needles. I've used those for years, and then I got sponsored by them about a year ago. So I use those when I use cartridges all the time. I do still line now and then with a coil or a Dan Cuban. So I use. I have a Scott Sterling, Aaron Kane, a bunch of Destroy Troy coils. They're really nice on your wrist because they're forward weighted, so they don't. I'm getting arthritis in my thumbs, and they don't affect that. And Dan Cubans, of course, but the Bishop's just so easy on my wrist that I just run with that most of the time, and it lines well.
They're a great machine.
I also have some pretty evil 49 mags from a guy out of Russia that puts the black in. You can do a whole arm in 3 hours. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I
Wouldn't
guess
be fun the next day.
Next time someone slides into your DMs and asks how much for a sleeve, 3 hours.
3 hours. It's going to be expensive though.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was going to go through these questions again.
All right.
So
I see, the old Hand of Doom says hello. What's up?
yeah, mate.
Logan
Yeah.
and Braden Atkinson.
There you go.
Yeah.
How's Logan doing?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Who's in your shop now? Can you give us a lineup?
Yep. So we got Madison Darcy, Stuart Blake. They've been there. Stuart's been there the longest, about 10 years now. He
Did you apprentice, Stu?
When he was 18. So
So
11 years. Yeah. And he was an apprentice when Cade, Anthony Alexander, and we all used Numas with the pneumatic ones. And in the back room, we had 3 air compressors. And no air conditioning in the back room. And he'd be cleaning tubes, and it was like 50 degrees. So he paid his dues back in that room, sweating it up.
Yeah. That definitely wouldn't happen today.
No. And then we have Matt Mill, who also works at Tattoo Rosie's one day. And we have Logan.
But you apprenticed Matt too?
Yeah. Probably
and Madeline?
4 years. Maddie as well. And we have Logan, who was in the city before, and then a girl named Mika. She moved down from Brisbane. She's been there a couple months now.
Yeah, amazing. How's she finding Sydney or Manly style?
She seems like it. She's been more places out to eat than I have, so the young
But just touching on that, Joe. Just touching on that, like, the guys that you mentioned, they've been with you for a long time. Like, to have like such strong artist like retention, basically people stay with you for a long time. It means you're doing something really well.
I hope so.
No, it's obvious, and like everyone I know speaks highly of you. And I think Whistler Street's been around for roughly 3.5 years now.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah.
And it's like one of my favorite shops. It's it's a classic street shop by the beach. You've got Manly and Bondi always rivals with each other. But Manly's super cool. Your shop's super cool. It's covered in flash and artwork. I sort of have a romantic view of these sort of studios, because I worked on a shop on the Gold Coast for 3 years. Very similar. So you get a lot of tourists, a lot of backpackers living in the area, just like a general really happy clientele. Northern Beaches is loaded with super cool people.
Yeah, really lucky with the whole group. Like the shop doesn't look like that because of me. It looks like that because of everybody. Everybody pitches in and helps put stuff on the wall, and we all buy prints from all over the world and put them up. So it's a group effort. It's not by any means. If I left, it'd still look the same, because it wouldn't be me packing up the walls and leaving. It's everybody's effort, which is great.
That's a credit to you for guiding the ship and letting people do what they want to do and have their space. And it's also nice because they love the place and they want to elevate it as best they can.
So I'm more than happy to let them do anything they want to the shop. They come up with ideas now and then, and say, hey, we need to do this, and we'll go for it. Sometimes I'm a bit slow on it because I am 52 and I forget. And
mate,
forget everything. Terrible.
Well, but mate, let's call that shell shock.
Yeah. Well, they'll ask for a day off, and I'll say
where you work, and obviously you work at Whistler Street in Manly.
Manly, yeah. But the guys they'll ask for a day off sometimes, and I'll say yeah, that's fine. And then the day off will come, and I'll message them and say, hey, where are you? Like, oh man, we told you 8. As long as they understand.
Yeah. So I think it's LIVPD_art has asked, are you taking on more apprentices? It definitely is the place to be.
Yeah. No, I don't. Not for a while. It'd have to be somebody like Charlie has spoiled us.
Yeah.
He's been with us since
can you talk a bit about Charles? He's your latest apprentice, isn't he?
So I know you mentioned him on the chat with MJ.
Yeah, he's one to watch.
He started hanging out. He was a year ahead of my oldest son in school, and I used to see his artwork at like the school art shows, and then I'd heard about him through that, and then I don't remember how he got into the shop. I think he rang or emailed. We just said, yeah, you can come down and draw, and I think it was before he was 15, so it's like having another son around. He's been there the end of year 9, 10, 11, and then he left school, and now his tattoos are so clean that I'll watch him do a line, and sometimes he'll come over and look at what I'm doing, and I'll kind of cover it up with a paper towel, and it'll be a line that I'm going to fill over anyway, and I'll just be like, oh, nothing to see here yet, kind of block it and be like, go away. But yeah, he's really good. Everybody in there will keep you on your toes, that's for sure. So
I'm gonna. Someone's asked what's Charles's Instagram. It's Charles M. Walsh.
M. Walsh, yeah. And
yeah, it's crazy.
Matt was the same.
Matt's just replied.
Matt was the same, and
this kid has the
Oliver West. He's in Melbourne now. He was the same. If I have a day off, I'll go do something and hang out with the family or something. I might draw a little bit. Most of the time it's for homework, but these guys paint. They just love it. They just paint, which is great.
Yeah, Matt's phenomenal. I think just before the first lockdown we had, over a year and a half ago, I bought, I think it's a panther and a tiger. What was it, Matt? I can't remember. But I bought these two creatures of him with bamboo and a red background. It's just phenomenal, man. So, to have, Matt in the shop, it's, but it's so good to see that Ollie's gone on to be working in a great shop down in Melbourne as well. You must be pretty proud, Joe, when you sort of take a moment and think about all the people you've helped and they've gone on to great things. So obviously, Jimmy May wanted me to ask who's the most famous out of all his apprentices.
Yeah, you asked me that the other day, and out of every one of them, there's not one that's better than the other. I'm just really stoked that every one of them is still tattooing. So every single there's a couple that probably don't really dig the shop or whatever, which is fine. I mean, everybody's different, but I'm really happy that every single one of them is still tattooing, and a lot of them have shops, and a couple of them own their own shops, a couple of them work a lot of them came to your shop, so still waiting on that.
It's check. For me, it was, at one point I think I had a bunch of people from Kaleidoscope working with me and from you as well. And it's amazing, all those guys, so where I'm trying to go with this, obviously I've got the Australian tattoo history thing. So from a lineage thing, and you study power shops where people have come from, Manly is definitely one of them. It's, Ellie Thompson, Ryan Usher comes from that area as well. There's a lot more people that I'll be forgetting that have gone on to have great careers. So a little bit of a thing when you're, I know each one's different. Like you were saying, Sam was just a natural. You didn't have to do much. I know, Jake's another one who's pretty much a natural as well. Is it true that Jimmy needed the most guidance? He was the one that struggled the most.
Yeah, he was on the short bus. He'd just sit looking out the window and wouldn't do anything, and we had to tell him to draw.
I heard a rumor he was doing portraits within 2 months.
Yeah, so Jimmy used to come in and he'd just sit at the front and draw, and he would draw the most amazing faces, but he wouldn't say a word. He never said a word. And he'd just draw the sickest, best portraits, not looking at anything, just drawing them, and a gifted drawer and artist. He had paintings that were like oil paintings that were phenomenal. And eventually we told him he'd hang out and draw, and he might get an apprenticeship, and eventually, I think I had a chat with him and said that, you know, we'd like to have you as an apprentice, but you're gonna have to say hi to people, like especially the people who work here and talk to us, and he's just so quiet. Like I think the most he's ever spoken was on Bondi Inc. So, and I don't know how many takes they had to do to make him speak, but yeah, no, he doesn't even have headphones in, and he's quiet. So,
but I do tell you, mate. Like I love it. He actually just did a really nice podcast interview thing, and he spoke really kindly about both of us.
Yeah, I watched that. It was good.
Yeah, but man, that dude has a killer sense of humor. You might you get one thing a day, and man, you're like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So
he starts talking, you got to listen. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yep. Yeah. So we've got Kaylin's asked any tips how to get into tattooing. For me, I think because now it's actually so competitive, I think you just have to stand out from the crowd. You have to be really good at art. You have to be super dedicated, and have somewhat of a thick skin. You know, like if one door closes, don't be disappointed.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, exactly. That's its filtering system.
Yeah,
and then I've got one of my mates, Stephen. Yeah, 100. Yeah, you have to. You just have to be relentless.
A lot of
and it doesn't stop.
Yeah, I get a lot of emails or people inquiring, and you know that they like to draw, and their friends tell them they're amazing, and they bring stuff in, and like I always reply to everybody, send them nice emails, and like I never tell anybody that they suck or anything, because you know my drawings weren't that good back in the day. So
no.
And we just tell them to draw, get tattooed from lots of people, hang out in some shops, see if you like it, and have thick skin, because there's a lot of funny banter goes on in the shops, and you can't take any of it too serious. So
yeah, but even not even that, just difficult customers. You know, if you're an introverted person and you've got someone with a strong personality, you know, you have to learn how to deal with it, you know, or you're going to get kind of walked over. It may even, you know, we're probably both the same, mate. We're still learning on a daily basis, and you never know it all.
No,
all that sort of stuff.
No, you don't. Yeah, you'll always find the customers, like they say they're always right. Even when they're wrong, you gotta, you know, make them feel like they're right. And you know, the people are going to pay you to do work on them. And if you do a great tattoo on somebody, they might tell 10 people. If you give shitty customer service, they're going to tell everybody.
Mate, 100%. Yeah. Like, customer service is huge, and it's a service industry. But you know, you probably, you know, like you're an easygoing guy, and you know, easy to get along with, and have had such a diverse life. You can probably chat to anyone, you know, quite similar to myself. Some people, you know, find it difficult to communicate and all this sort of stuff. So it's an important skill in tattooing these days.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just trying to keep an eye on the time, mate. We've got about 4 minutes left until we get cut off.
I always remind the guys, when you're doing like the smallest tattoo, it could be a mom comes in to get like a semicolon. That tattoo, to her, she's more stoked about that than Layla would be about her whole bodysuit. Like that would mean more to her, and it's really like 10 minutes of work. So you got to respect what everybody's getting.
And they'll both equally sing your praise. That's the thing. We got a mirror in the shop, and on the window it says like the peacock moment, and that's because, like, you know, whether it's like you said a semicolon or a full bodysuit, when they look in the mirror, it has the equal amount of power to them. And you know, tattoos are pretty simple at the end of the day. Like, all I've kind of worked out is, if you know, they're supposed to make you feel good about yourself. If it's purely from a visual point of view, or there's some sort of spiritual or emotional attachment to it, it's all valid, and it's all the same.
So definitely.
So plans for the future, Joe? Just look forward to opening up again.
Get back to work in a couple weeks or a week. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. I got kids in school and just working at the shop, and couldn't ask for a better life at the moment. So nobody's shooting at me today, so all's good,
mate. Totally. Out of no, I was going to say, you've already answered that question. Who was your most troublesome apprentice? And obviously we already know that was Jimmy.
That is definitely.
So with Charles, where's he at with he's obviously tattooing people.
He's on walk-ins now.
Nice.
He's not far away from doing 100% of everything. Now and then he gets a little nervous about certain tattoos, which is fine. So we'd rather have him turn something down than jump in and need to get some laser or fix up. So he's humble, which is good, and he thinks everything he draws is not good enough, which I guess that's good, but
hopefully that stays forever. Like I'm sure you're the same, mate. We're still riddled with some sort of doubt and not the greatest confidence sometimes in what you're doing. But what I was going to quickly touch upon was, like, one of the beauties of being where you are, that seaside street shop, is you get such diverse client base, which, if you're exposed to it as a young apprentice, you're like years ahead of somebody who just goes straight into sort of specializing, because you learn all the different needle groups, all the different parts of the body, all the different personalities. And as you can see, who we've spoken about tonight, it really sets you up for like a strong career ahead.
He'll be one to watch in the future, that's for sure. Hopefully all the guys are. I mean, they're all doing so well that but
you've got a killer shop, man, and that's the thing.
They're all crushing it. Every now and then they'll post something up, and I'll just message them and say, man, that's a sick tattoo. And I'm not just saying it to pump them up. Like, if I tell them that, it's not just smoke. So,
no, I do the same thing, and I think that's important. And like, I'm sure, like, you've got such like a tight knit, close shop. Like, you see everything that's done every day, and I try at least once daily to walk around the shop and see what's getting done, because I'm pumped on what's being turned out.
Well, you need a Segway for your shop. You can't walk around you need a Segway to get around your shop.
You
can't walk around there. It's too much walking. Too many steps.
All right, we're gonna finish this up, Joe. I could keep going forever, because I love you, mate, and it's been really good. Thanks so much for talking tonight. And for me, you've had such a big impact on Sydney tattooing. Not let alone what you do is world class, and the shop you run is world class too, and also the amount of people that you have helped in tattooing. And I know that in the future, we'll continue to go on and do that. So from the bottom of my heart, mate, I love you. It's been
you too.
really cool.
Thank you very much.
Cool. All right. See you, mate.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
See yous.
See ya.